top of the clay and pushes it into my hand to get it fully centered. And sometimes I have a hard time feeling if it's all the way centered, so I'll close my eyes to feel if I can feel movement in my hands or if it's all even underneath. Hands off slowly always so I don't warp the clay as I pull my hands away fast. I have a hard time when I'm opening my clay with not making the center hole open. A lot of times I find it's because I don't have enough water, so my fingers dig down into the clay and stick, and then it pulls them out of center. So I find after I've gone down a little bit, I need to stop and put more water into the hole before going any further. And then I continue as I push down. I sometimes pull my fingers up a little bit to let water underneath my fingers again. So I do that periodically. If in the end I still don't have a centered hole, you can again brace your elbow against your hip and connect your hands together, and then compress, push your finger toward the outside to force the clay back into center.
Alex showed that if your hole is not centered, you can put both hands this way.
Yeah, you can do that too, like this.
But thumbs inside. Yeah, this way.
Yep.
And when you fix your elbow and push hands and make it wide by thumbs, it really helps.
Yeah, he's right. And if you do this, you don't want to be pushing in hard with your hands. You're just feeling where the clay is, and then you're using your thumbs to pull out to your hands to center it. At any point that you realize your clay is no longer center, it's better to stop what you're doing and work on getting it recentered before continuing, because once you get it off center, your throwing will get harder and harder as you continue with your piece. Okay, so for my bowl, I've been working on, I struggle with this lip coming up. So I've been working to try and compress it each time to keep it more even. I'm out of round. Okay, so I'm going to compress the top a little bit, get it evened out, make sure it's all wet so I don't have friction. And then I'm going to start pulling, starting in the center, going along the contour. Alex doesn't really talk about this, but I oftentimes find during pulling, I start getting friction because the water doesn't last. So I will stop my pull to add more water and then continue where I left off. I went too thin down there and I had too much material at the top. So I just kind of compressed the rim up here to thin out the clay a little bit. So when I get to that thin spot again, I'm not pressing because I don't want to make it any thinner. Compress my rim. It's a good habit to compress your rim at the top of each bowl. So try and keep everything even. Starting always in the center of the inside. I forget that part. Okay, well this bowl is not really the shape that I want. I'm gonna kind of push out from the inside to get the shape that I'm looking for. My whole bowl is out of center. Part of the problem is that I didn't slow it down.
The other thing is you're making the inside wider than the clay underneath it. So don't make the inside so flat.
I'm making this to be a throwing bowl. Take place of the bucket.
You don't plan to make that white thin ball. You don't plan to make that white thin wall
Not
ball.
on this one. You want to see
Okay.
one of those?
Yeah.
After you do that, the last 2 times you make it flat. You do the other 10 it off, but if you mess with it more after that, it's going to fall.
I don't like that. That's okay. Removing the slip, so compressing, using the rib like this, helps to compress the sides, which is good for the strength of the clay. It also removes all the slip off it, which if you're trying to have your pieces done faster, the more slip you can get removed before you put it on the shelf, the faster it will dry. So I usually try to remove as much slip as I can. Make more of a mess.
So you can put it on the shelf, or if you're out of work, you can put it outside. You want to be sure it's not like don't burn your teeth. Next Wednesday or week.
Another benefit of removing the slip is if you've got thick enough walls and you have all the slip removed and you get all the clay off your hands completely dry, you can grab it from the bottom and pull it off the wheel with practice. Is that too small?